I'm Robert Cardoza, and you're watching On the Street, the intersection of business and politics. Coming up next is going to be our interview. It's going to be with James Conaway from Conaway & Conaway. You're going to find that really, really interesting as we talk about your personal and your business life and the way you plan for that. But right now, we're going to talk about new legislation. You know what? The first thing we're going to talk about is the gun control bill. You know, it's been about 4 months since the tragedy in Connecticut, and a lot longer than that from Colorado and the other places where we've had these just unjustifiable, meaningless shootings that are going on. And finally, we see some legislation taking place. There's been no real vote on it, but you know, Harry Reid in his intelligence, I'm going to put that in brackets because it's sort of like a counteractive kind of description. But Harry Reid actually took out of the gun control bill the assault weapons ban, and leaving in, obviously, the background checks for everyone. Who knows what's going to go on with magazines and the rest of that stuff. But Harry Reid came back under pressure from Dianne Feinstein to say, hey, we would revisit gun control with regard to the assault weapons ban later on. But right now he says, you know, there just aren't enough votes in the Senate to get that passed. Some of it makes some sense, some of it doesn't. I think having all separate segments would make sense anyway. But you know, something has got to happen. Part of what's going on that's really exciting is Colorado. Now, in Colorado, they passed and the governor signed a gun control bill that is one of the strongest in the country. They banned assault weapons altogether. They created background checks for every weapons purchase. They put controls on the purchase of ammunition. All of those things took place, and they're limiting to magazines for guns to a maximum of 15 shells in a magazine, and if it's a shotgun, 8 shells to a magazine. And so they have gone after this in a big way. Seems to me that as long as we have some meaningful controls, there's nothing against it. But we'll certainly see how Colorado works toward this gun control law. It's certainly going to be something that is going to be worthwhile watching. Will it actually stop a lot of the tragedies that we've been seeing of late? I don't know. You know, every day I turn on the news and I see another shooting. It's just, you can't decide what the heck is going on. This used to be a country where you could walk down the street and you'd be safe. Now, if you walk into a movie theater, you're looking for the exits. You're looking all over the place. You don't know what to do. When you stop at a stop sign, you're afraid to look at the car next to you for what could be happening. I just don't know what happened to the security and the safety that you used to feel as a United States citizen. Things have kind of gone haywire around here. You know, when I was a young man, you know, you didn't lock your car. You generally didn't lock your house. You leave your keys wherever you wanted. You didn't have to be worried about those things. You could walk around in the daytime or at night and not worry about being mugged or hurt. You know, when you were in school, you could get mad at somebody and you could have a fight. You just wanted them to submit. You wanted them to give up, but you didn't want to kill them. Today, that just seems to be the measure by which the standards are left. You know, you got to kill somebody in order to get some kind of authority. Not too long ago, I was in a court trial, and it was against a gang member, and this guy had all kinds of attempted murder charges against him and all kinds of assault charges against him. You know how the DA does it. They just throw all kinds of stuff at the wall to see what sticks. In this particular case, this guy was a gang member and the head of one of the gangs, tough guy, and as the police were actually testifying in the trial, they made it very much known that the police didn't control the community, the gangs did, and the police just sort of stayed out of their way as long as it didn't infringe on innocent people. They don't want to get out in the middle of that any more than anybody else does. You know, what a bad thing that is. And you know what? This trial lasted a couple of weeks. When we got all done, we went in. It took us about 3 or 4 hours to come to a conclusion on innocence or guilt on all the counts that were there. In this particular case, this guy was found guilty of all the counts. When we went back into the courtroom, they asked the verdict, and we gave them the verdict. Of course, the defense wanted to poll the jury, and so they polled the entire jury, which is just reaffirming what every juror actually voted on. When they got all done, the judge locked the courthouse down. They had more police officers in the courthouse. The judge told everyone they had to stay in the courthouse while the jurors were excused. They took the jurors out the back way of the courthouse with an armed guard taking us out there. Each one of the jurors was taken to their own vehicle, and until the vehicles left the parking lot of the courthouse, no one was let out of that courthouse. Now, you got to know that that's got to scare the heck out of you. My case, I only lived about 4 miles from that courthouse, but it took me about 45 minutes to get home because I was not driving straight home. I was scared to death. What kind of system, what kind of community do we live in when you really believe that even law enforcement can't keep you safe and can't keep you secure? That kind of goes back to gun control, but the problem with it is, you can do all the background checks, you can do all the gun control you want, and that's going to keep generally honest people, maybe if they have a mental problem, from getting guns and ammunition. But you know what? The people that you want to have not have weapons are still going to get access to weapons. They're still going to be getting those guns. And you know what? I don't want to be the only guy that doesn't have a gun if somebody's coming after me. It just reminds me of that Bank of America fiasco where the robbers, they had these armored suits on and they had assault weapons and they outgunned the police department. What a horrible thing that was. And that's what gave police departments assault weapons, because they didn't have them until then. So they got these military type assault weapons. You got to start thinking, the guys that had those weapons, they probably didn't register them. They probably didn't go through background checks. They probably got them on some other market. And my guess is that the underground that has that available is still going to have it available. So if they get too tough with gun control, my guess is that you and I are going to be the only ones that can't get guns. Now, I'm not saying that everybody should have a gun. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have more controls with the gun control law, because we should. But you know what? I still believe in the Second Amendment. I still believe that everyone has the right to bear arms to protect their personal property. So there's a toss-up between one and the other. You have to be realistic and know what's going on. Now, I want to remind everybody that coming up next is my good friend James Conaway from Conaway & Conaway. He is the co-founder and the president of Conaway & Conaway. They do good things when it comes to financial planning and for both businesses and individuals. And looking at your business and seeing how you can improve it and save on that bottom line. I want to remind everybody you can follow me on Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn. I want you to do that. I want you to friend me. I want you to like me. I want you to do all of those things. And I want you to follow me on YouTube. Just search Robert Cardozo Live. I want to remind you you're watching On the Street. This is the intersection of business and politics. I'm Robert Cardozo.